San Marzano tomatoes. You're growing plum tomatoes. But yes, but that's San Marzano. You should know this. I said, well, I do know this because here's what I do know. I do know that that tomato cannot be called a San Marzano because it wasn't grown in San Marzano. So San Marzano tomatoes you can only get if you buy them in a can. Canned San Marzano tomatoes are a DOP product, meaning if you look on the can when you buy it, it will have those letters, DOP, which means those tomatoes were grown in San Marzano according to strict rules, processed in a certain way, and then stamped with the EU seal of approval that sends those out to be sold on the international market. Everything else, including these, is just a plum tomato. So, I'm not saying that just using regular plum tomatoes are bad. No, this is what we have, so this is what we're going to use. So to make dried tomatoes in olive oil, which is what I'm going to show you today, so simple. This is such a simple procedure that you are going to think twice about going to the grocery store and buying dried tomatoes in oil that is going to cost you, I don't know, for a small jar what it costs, but it's going to cost you. It's going to be expensive. Instead, you can do this at home. And you can do it either with tomatoes out of your garden, or you could do it with tomatoes from the farmer's market, or even from your grocery store. But try to do it when tomatoes are in season, because wintertime is not a good time to do this. So first of all, you want to start out with really fresh, unblemished plum tomatoes. And you always cut plum tomatoes with a knife like this. This is a soft cheese knife, or we call it a tomato knife. And the reason you want to use this, we don't have a mirror here, do we? So you can't see this. But the reason you want to do that is because if you use a knife like this, you don't tear the tomato. And that's really important. You don't want to tear the tomato. And the reason you need to use plum tomatoes for drying is because you see how pulpy these are? These are good. You did a good job buying these tomatoes. Very good.
My wife.
Your wife, we're going to thank her. Less seeds, low acidity, very pulpy. That's the kind of tomato you want, and that's why you can't use a beefsteak. Because a beefsteak has lots of seeds, it's juicy, and it's not pulpy. So that's the wrong tomato. So you get these tomatoes, and you do this with cherry tomatoes as well if you want to. And you're going to cut them in half lengthwise. First you want to really wash them well. So you want to cut them in half lengthwise. I'm just going to simulate a few of these for you. Once you have them cut, you can do this two ways. This is a dehydrator. Now, a dehydrator means it's going to dry out whatever you have on these racks. So they come with racks like this. You can buy a dehydrator anywhere, in a kitchen store, or sometimes you see them at Home Goods or whatever. And so what this does, it slow dries the fruit or the vegetables that you're putting on it. So you want to make sure that you're either doing it with this, or you are putting these tomatoes on a bake sheet on a rack that goes in the oven. So you can oven dry them, or you can do them like this. So you put them on the rack, and these dehydrators come with, numerous numbers of racks. So you can have 2 or 3 racks going at the same time. And you put this on the dehydrator, and you keep going. You make another rack. You want to spread them out so that they're not, touching one another. And you continue going like this. Once you have all the tomatoes on, then you cover it. There's a little button there. You turn it on. We're just going to sit like this here. This is going to take maybe, depending on the size of the tomatoes, this could take like a day and a half to do. What I usually do is I put the dehydrator on my counter, I put the tomatoes on, and then I just check. I put them on early in the day. I know that they're going to go overnight, and then the next day see where they are. And that is the trick. They need to look like this. Because what you're doing is you're taking all of the moisture out of these tomatoes. So these are some I did earlier. See, they're bendable like a dried apricot. So once you have them fresh on these wraps, you let them go until they look just like this. They're going to be dry, see? But not brittle. They're dry, but they're not brittle. So you've taken all of the moisture out of this, but you've concentrated the sugar. Are you with me so far? Okay. All right, so once you're at that stage, now you need to do something else. So you have done the tomatoes, they're dry, you have them like this. Now this seems counterintuitive, the next thing. Seems very counterintuitive. So what you do next is you get a pan ready with some, yes, red wine vinegar. So we're going to put some red wine vinegar in here. And what you really want to do with this is you want to now cook the tomatoes. I know, it sounds crazy. It sounds like, well, didn't you just take all of the moisture out of those tomatoes? Yes, I did. But what I want to do now is I just want to kind of cook them for about less than a minute. So you get some vinegar going, good red wine vinegar, and you turn on your little burner, and you add your tomatoes. I usually do this in a big pot, but I'm not in the kitchen. So you put the tomatoes in, just the way they are. I won't do all of them, just a few. Put them in there, and you let them cook in there for about less than a minute. What are you doing by doing this? Well, by doing this, you're doing two things. Number one, you're killing anything that's on those tomatoes. Any bacteria is now gone. Are you paying attention? Okay. Any bacteria that's on those tomatoes is now gone. That's very good. The second thing it does is that it sets the color of the tomato. Now, anybody who's ever worked with fermenting vegetables, for instance, let's take red onions. If you put red onions into red wine vinegar, you get very dull-looking fermented onions. But if you put red onions into distilled white vinegar, you will get a nice colored red onion because it will preserve the color of that red onion. Here I'm using red wine vinegar because, number one, the tomatoes are red, and secondly, the red wine vinegar is going to help preserve the flavor and the look of these tomatoes. So you leave them in there like that for about 30 seconds, and then you take them out. Then the next step is you want to preserve these, right? So there's two ways to do this. Well, there's several ways, but I'm going to give you just two. One is the old-fashioned way by canning. Who in here cans anymore? You do? Wonderful. This woman needs a prize. Yes. Nobody in here cans, right? Forget that. It's too much work. Okay, back there. Good. All right. I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore because I got smart. You want to start with perfectly clean, sterilized jars. Now, I usually put the tomatoes in this size jar. But you could, if you wanted to use, if you wanted to do this in a quart jar, you could do that. You're just going to have a lot of tomatoes. Because basically, if I filled up these two trays with these cut tomatoes, I'm packing about 24 tomatoes into this size jar once I've taken out all of the moisture. So you want to start with absolutely clean jars. Then you need a good, I am not a sponsor of this, so I can't tell you. Then you need a good extra virgin olive oil. What is extra virgin olive oil? First pressing, less than 1% acidity, and cold press. So no heat was used to get the oil, right? Now, side. This you can do again with the rest of the tomatoes. You keep going. So now in the jar, you need to put some salt. I use eyeballs. I take a little salt, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, and I put it in the base. And then I start adding the tomatoes. I put a tomato in, a couple tomatoes. I'll put in some capers. A couple capers in the brine go in. Put in some whole black peppercorns. The recipe for this is on charlatalia.com, so not to worry. Peppercorns. Garlic is a no-no unless you are canning. Did you hear me? It's a no-no raw unless you are canning. And the reason it's a no-no is because if you put this in here raw, you run the risk of botulism. We don't want that. So I never put garlic in here unless you are canning this. You got it? Okay. But we're going to use the garlic for something else. So we have that, and then we have basil. So here we have some fresh basil leaves. Don't use dried basil for this. That's not good. It doesn't have any flavor. Dried basil, no herb that's dried has any flavor. I mean, really think about it. To dry herbs, you have to use heat. Heat destroys the oils that are in the herb. So if I run my hands along this, I can smell this basil. I can't do that with dried basil. It's too medicinal smelling. So you want clean basil leaves, washed and dried. You put those in the jar, and you keep going with the tomatoes, adding a little salt, again about a quarter of a teaspoon, more basil, a few more peppercorns, a little bit more of the capers, and you keep going and going and going until you get to the top, and you want to leave a little bit of room at the top because you need now to fill this with the extra virgin olive oil. So here's a little bit more salt, and another basil leaf, tomato, and here's our last tomato. All right, so there's our little jar, all set to go. Now, the olive oil. So, you want to fill this jar so that those tomatoes are completely covered. That's really critical. Now fill it right up to the top. It's completely covered. Is this one completely covered? Take a look. Yes, it is. All right. And then you tap it. And you leave this on your counter overnight. The next day, here's one we did earlier. You uncap them to see, are those tomatoes still under oil? They are. Good. If that's the case, you don't have to add more oil. But if it isn't, then that's the point where you add additional oil to keep those tomatoes current. Now that you have that, these, you've done a bunch of them, they go into a water on a bruschetta. We're going to make a bruschetta for you right now. So you are going to help me, Mr. Tartaglia Cat. Mr. Tartaglia Cat. Let's give him a big hand. Mr. Tartaglia Cat. Okay, around here. Okay, Mr. Tartaglia Cat. So here's what we're going to do. All right, first of all, your name is? Michael. Michael Michele. Oh, give me a hand. Look at his hat. He made his hat. Did you see his hat? Put him on the show. Don't disappoint me. Okay. All right, so have you ever made bruschetta?
No, but I've seen it and had it. It's delicious.
All right, so we're going to make bruschetta. So we're going to start with the pan. All right, turn that on, Michele. And just turn it on. Got it on? Okay, put it on medium. Yeah. All right. Now. All right, you jammed it already. They got it. Okay, you fixed it. All right, is it on? All right, on medium. All right, so now we just want a tiny, tiny tad of this. A tiny tad. All right, good. And you just want to swirl that around. Swirl that around. Well, what do you do in real life? Yeah.
I own an online marketplace. So
Oh, what am I getting for free? All right, so bruschetta. Remember, folks, it's not bruschetta. I'm so tired of hearing that. You go to a restaurant, oh, we have wonderful bruschetta today. No, wrong. You have bruschetta. Bruschetta. Okay. So we heat up the oil, and now we want good bread. Now we have good bread. And I'm not talking about spitball bread. Now you can't use this with just Wonder Bread. No Wonder Bread. You gotta use a good dense bread with a dense crumb. So like a sourdough, baguettes are great too if you're gonna make them smaller size. Italians like to cut them on the diagonal. So we've got some bread here. Now we're gonna make the true bruschetta. So your hands are clean, right?
yeah, I see the bottle of alcohol right there.
I like this guy. Okay, all right, put that in. Or let's make two of these. And let's do two small ones. Okay. So you watch that, and here's a fork. So we want to brown the bread. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the true Italian garlic bread. So besides good bread, you need real garlic. Whole cloves of garlic. This stuff that passes for garlic bread in Italian-American restaurants, there's no resemblance to bruschetta in Italy. While he's browning them, I want to show you that not only are we going to use these tomatoes to top that, but I've also browned them up. See how they're all ground up here? See how they're ground up? And you do that in a food processor, and then you can use this. You boil up a half a pound of pasta, like a penne or a gemelli or a farfalle. You boil up a half a pound of pasta. You need very little of this because it's super intense. I'm going to give you a taste, and you can tell me. So this would be the ground up version of those tomatoes. You want it on a little piece of bread? Just have you try that. So taste that. See what you say. Don't lie. It's very intense, isn't it? Yeah. So a little goes a long way. All right. So did you turn it over? Turn it over. Turn it over. Yeah. Turn it over. You don't want it. You're a bread. Okay. Turn it over. Good. Okay. Now put it on that dish. What do we sell online?
Antiques, comic books, music collectors.
All right, now shut this off. Turn that off. Okay. juices of the bread. It flavors the bread. You can't do that with, Wonder Bread. Exactly. You can't do that with Wonder Bread. So you do that, make another one, and it just grates the bread. So if you see the clove of garlic just goes right into that. You don't want all that garlic there. So take the excess off. All right, that's that. So now you have that. Okay. So then you can do this several ways. So let's use this since we've got it open. And we're going to make a bruschetta. So we take some of this, spread it. You don't need much. Right over the bread. Take some of those fresh basil leaves. Here. Yeah, they should be basil cologne. Fresh basil leaves. And you take a little bit more. Put it over the basil leaves. So good. Then you can take these little mozzarella pearls. Put them on. These are very salty. You can make a really interesting type of bruschetta. Now, isn't that nice? Yes. And it's delicious. So that's what you can do with the bread. In terms of anything else you can do with these tomatoes, well, your imagination is all you need. So that's how you make them in a jar. And here's how you do them if you want them mashed up and served as a tomato pesto sauce. But you have to remember to always keep oil on the top of the jar. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you. That one, yeah, you can do it. Anybody have any questions? You have a question? Yes, ma'am. Good. I can't hear you. Use the mic. Mikey, be the MC.
If you don't have a dehydrator and you want to do it in the oven, does that happen?
Okay, you don't have a dehydrator and you want to do this in the oven, you are putting an oven rack on a cookie sheet. On a cookie sheet. You put an oven rack and you put these tomatoes cut side down just like you see them. You turn your oven on at 250. Low heat. It may take a day and a half, 2 days to get to this consistency. Bendable, not crispy. Okay, like a dried yaki. When they're at that consistency, then you can go ahead and finish the process. Okay? Any other questions? Oh, come on. Nobody? Yes, yes.
We have a question? Here we go.
Can you do the same process for red peppers?
You can do the same process for red peppers, and you can also do this with zucchini. So if you wanted to make like pickled zucchini, you would follow the same procedure that I just did. The vinegar part of this is really important because you want to be very cautious about your hands should be clean. As I said, the jars should be clean. You boil those tomatoes for about a minute. You kill whatever is there. Do not put raw garlic. These tomatoes will keep in the refrigerator over a month. I've had them several months. I just take them in and out. Can you freeze this? You could, but you know what? Something is destroyed in the olive oil. It's not going to taste the same. When you get to the end of the jar and you have all that excess oil, what do you do with it, huh? Yeah, you dip it, or I use it to saute vegetables, put it over pasta. It's a really good tasting olive oil that's left in the jar. Anything else?
Yeah, Mary Ann, Joanne had a question.
Yes.
She has a lot of green tomatoes.
Oh, good.
What's the best way to get them so you can enjoy them later into the season?
Well, that's one of the questions I addressed in this book, which is my garden. I take all of the green tomatoes at the end of the season, when I know that September comes around, I know that the sugar concentration of those tomatoes is done. It's September, it's done. So if you have green tomatoes, you bring them in the house. I'll have to kill that helicopter. I want to kill that helicopter. You bring it in the hospital. You bring them in the house and you have newspaper everywhere. You line these tomatoes up in single rows on your newspaper. Then you put another layer of newspaper over them. And you just let them sit there. The gas between the tomato and the paper reacts. How is that, by the way?
It's amazing.
I can tell.
It's going to take about a week or so, but they will ripen. They will ripen. And just as an aside, I should tell you that, in Italy, I don't know if you've ever been to any of the markets, but you walk around the markets in Italy and you see these really greenish-looking tomatoes in the market. You think, why are these in the market? They're green. Well, Italians like to have their salad tomatoes, not the drum tomatoes, but their salad tomatoes, the beefsteak type tomato. They like them on the greenish side. That was a revelation to me the first time I saw them. I thought, should they be selling these? Yes, this is the way they like them. They're tasty actually. So they're a little on the green and a little greenish tinge to them. They're really good. So that's the trick of getting them to turn red. Putting them between layers of meat.
Mary Ann, some people put a banana in a paper bag with the tomatoes. The reason for that would be?
I have no idea.
It doesn't get any better than that, I'll tell you. But supposedly, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac,
I wasn't here for that.
I was just curious, because it must shoot off some kind of something into the bag that makes it cure better.
There must be, but I've always been of the mind, and I've read this in many places, that bananas should always be by themselves.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So bananas and tomatoes, I don't know. Try it. Yes, sir. Try it. Yes, sir.
She said, it was one of the ingredients that I
Oh, we gotta get that question. I can't hear that.
First of all, thank you for coming today. It's just one of the ingredients that goes there on the jar. I didn't read it before.
For the tomatoes?
Yeah.
You want to know what the ingredients were?
Yeah, on the jar. Because I didn't hear it.
Oh, you missed one of the ingredients. Guess what? Papers. They're very salty, so I mean, you can get them in salt and then rinse them off really well. Or if you get them in brine, they're just peppery. You don't have to do that. That's just, I like doing that because I like that flavor combination. But you can leave those out. You don't have to. You can just do tomatoes and basil. You can do tomatoes, just olive oil, black pepper, and salt. You don't need the basil.
The capers make it, though.
Capers do make that.
No question. Ricky, you have a question? Joanne? Anybody? Put your hand up. I'll come over with the mic. No questions at all? Oh, you heard Mary Ann's feelings.
Well, I'm going to be here signing books. My wonderful assistant, Ginny, will help you. If you'd like to get a book, we have 3 different books here today. And Christmas is coming, as Mikey said, so if you want to get something for somebody, that would be great. I will sign the book for
East Park. I just want to say, while everybody's seated here, and, we have a plethora of entertainment that's going to happen later on. The whole weekend is planned. The guys have done a great job. There's 172 members in this society, and it takes a lot of work to put it all together. It really does. So we got perfect weather. Enjoy. Mary Ann, once again, I want to thank you for coming. I just want to say something that happened probably maybe 15 years ago
Okay, I hope it's with you.
between you and I. Well, you showed up unexpectedly. I didn't know you were coming. And you brought your film crew with you.
Yeah.
And this woman turned around and took her whole Ciao Italia show and dedicated it to the Feast of the Three Sets. And if you want to go on Ciao Italia, look, the name of the show is called La Best. And I think you had a crush on singer Aaron Caruso. That's what I think. You were very friendly with him. But anyway, this is the kind of woman that we're dealing with. She promotes the Italian culture, and the society tries to promote the Italian culture. I love you, babe.
I love you too.
If you're interested in the book, $10 on